mean, if you guys already saw it when I was trying to look for it, you know what's gonna happen. But let's just listen to the music. Honk honk, motherfuckers. From the article, from jeez, what's the name of this website? Anti-Justice Magazine, White Supremacy and Abortion. The foundation of the anti-abortion movement has nothing to do with morality.
What?
Yep.
What?
U.S. abortion rate reached a historic low in 2017.
This sounds... Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that slaveholders in the South made the same comment about the abolitionist movement.
Yes. Exactly.
Which side of history do you want to be on? Come on.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly they want to be the bad guys of history.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they're trying to leave with the fact that for a time there was a time when abortion was no big deal. The 18th century, for the most part, the 19th century abortion procedures were legal and widely practiced. Okay, this is bearing the lead. Technically, up until Roe v. Wade, abortions were not... They weren't illegal, but they also were heavily frowned upon. Like, to the point to where it just didn't happen because of the social ostracization.
Well, yeah.
But that's the thing. That's what we had back in the days.
Exactly. Not only was there the social shame of that, there was also shame about miscarriages, which honestly, I don't think people should have been shamed for having a miscarriage. It's not their fault.
That's just the not knowing. That's,
right.
As people not.
But there was social shame against abortion. Why? Because everyone recognized that an unborn child was a child. When someone was pregnant, they would say, "Oh, she is with child."
Yeah.
And in addition to that, during that time, children were seen as a blessing and a sign of
prosperity and of maturity.
Prosperity, yes, absolutely. But now they're seen as a burden.
Okay, here goes a lie from here. The Catholic Church implicitly accepted early abortions prior to the ensoulment. Reagan explained not until 1869. At the same time, abortion became politicized in the country. The church condemned abortion. In 1985, it condemned therapeutic abortion, meaning procedures to save women's lives. Okay, not 1985.
1895.
1895.
Dyslexia is a bit.
Let's put it like this. First of all, I'm going to say that I think they're just pulling something out of. I think they're just pulling this out of thin air because, for one, did you know infanticide was legal in Rome? In ancient Rome, infanticide was legal. Guess what stopped infanticide?
The church.
And they wouldn't even use ensoulment. They just said, yeah, as soon as the baby's there, leave it because it's a gift from God. No more abortions.
Yep, it's a precious gift. And that's the thing. It was valued. Children were valued as gifts from God. Why? Because Scripture teaches us that it's a gift from God. And not only that, you don't see... Look at other societies that have grown and survived for thousands of years. Like, look at China. No one would ever...
They allowed abortions 20 years ago.
Listen, until the communists took over, no one would ever think of killing an unborn child or abandoning or killing a born child in China. Why? Because it was a sign of honor and prosperity if you had children. People would have as many children as they possibly could. There's plenty of films that that are basically period pieces of China in the 1800s, China in the 1600s. And people had like 11, 12 children, and they weren't even rich people.
Hell, that happened in the U.S.
Like
my grandmother had like 13 kids.
Right.
I forgot. I was going to say my grandparents
are
kind of lower because they're all kind of younger. But before then, they said that they have just lots of siblings, like just massive numbers of them.
It was so it was only 2 generations ago that that society decided that kids are a burden. Instead of kids being the blessings that they are, that as taught by Christianity, as taught by any wealthy or any like healthy and wealthy society.
It's not even just Christianity. Christianity is obviously one of the big pieces that push society towards recognizing children as blessings, but even non-religious Confucius recognized that children were a blessing.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's
Rome. Well, I was gonna say Rome. Like Rome preferred to thought boys were a blessing. In fact, most of their abortions or infanticides were just girls. In fact, that's why the Roman populations was like 60-40, with 60% of it being male.
It was really only when the communist government enforced one-child policy that the Chinese people started valuing boys over girls. If you look at films
they always value boys over girls, but it was one of those situations because we can always try again. We're going to keep.
Yeah, you can always try
really.
Again.
Not really. They didn't
Probably
always value boys over girls. In fact, I mean, there were different gender roles, obviously, but within a family, there wasn't, oh, boys are more valuable than girls as far as societal.
But I can't say there's actually, but as with every bad thing, you always gotta look at the good. All I know is I met some amazing people because of China because of the one-child policy and China not liking little girls. So I met some good people from that.
Yeah.
Because they were adopted here in the USA.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, Ming, but let's move on because here goes the money shot. White supremacist power was threatened. By 1880s, abortions were criminalized except when necessary to save a woman's life due to pressure from the medical establishment, particularly the AMA. According to AMA spokesperson, the association seeks to limit government interference in the practice of medicine and oppose government regulation of medicine that is unsupported by scientific evidence. Word salad right there. However, in its early days, the AMA started a movement led by Dr. Horatio Stoner. I like the name Horatio. He sounds like an honorable person. The Harvard Medical School graduate who dedicated much of his life to practice OB/GYN work before he died in 1922 to outlaw abortion in 1857. Reagan worked on and came out of regular physicians' desire to win professional power, control medical practice, and restrict their competitors, namely midwives and homeopaths. Alright, they're just doing a bunch of word salad, not actually going into it. White male patriotism demanded maternity be enforced among white Protestant women. They're not pro-life. You know what they are? They are anti-women, believe that a woman's primary role and function is to be premier for the state. George Carlin. Okay, wait a second. Let's just stop that for a second. Abortion, births, and family planning resulted in reduced birth rates among white women at this time. That immigration rates soared in the U.S. Storer and his ilk fuming at the possibility of being outpopulated by others and demanded that whites keep dominating the population better them than blacks, Catholics, Mexicans, Chinese, or Indians. He said, "Okay, question that they aren't addressing. If black women aren't allowed to have abortions, would that also mean the black population rises?"
Don't tell them that. Don't tell them that. Why? The fact that wouldn't it be good to have more black men? Like, don't Black Lives matter? So why are we aborting?
When it comes to
the Black lives?
But yeah, they still peddle this lie about abortion becoming more deadlier because of the backlash abortions. Believe it or not, there were really not more people died after abortion was quote unquote legalized than before abortion was legalized. Let's just be honest. We're a lot more risk averse.
In places where abortion is not legal, abortions have gone down. People don't actually want to spend the money to go to Mexico and get a coat hanger abortion.
No, they don't. Like,
nobody wants to do that. If you don't want the child, it's actually easier for you to carry it to term and then put the child up for adoption.
And see,
we also have safe haven policies. You can drop off the kid, and there will be no legal recourse against you for doing so.
Yeah. In fact,
it's
unlike men, women can actually legally abandon their children.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what's really crap. Well, that's what's really shitty about it. And granted, here's the thing. If you're going to, I really don't support this answer, but I always make this argument. If it is legal for a woman to quite literally kill her child in the womb, it is at the same time all equally viable for a man to be able to say to walk out on the woman's life.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we're always against that here. Everybody here is against that.
The way I look at, see, people, I've seen this so many times. People are like, well, if women aren't allowed to abort children, or if women aren't allowed to have abortions, men shouldn't be allowed to walk out of, abandon the mother, and men should have to pay child support. That's already a thing.
That we already can't. We already cannot.
One, we can, and two, they don't know who they're talking to. They literally think that all men are the same.
We have to pay child support. If you can prove paternity, we have to pay child support. That's the law.
Yeah, it's literally encoded in law that men do not have a choice.
Well, and also it's going to point out the fact that the women who are making this argument assume that the men who are against abortion actually want to screw them and then leave said child.
No, we don't. We want family.
In fact, the men who are pushing for abortion are more likely to leave than the men who aren't. Just the facts of the matter. Either way, wait. Here goes interesting. If they were truly pro-life, they wouldn't turn away immigrants or refugees seeking better lives. I have a meme for this, but that's on Twitter. I will bring it up later.
Oh my god!
I think you've seen the meme I was referring to. In fact, I'm going to bring it up before we go to the next one. But you might want to read right here. Anybody want to read that?
They wouldn't continually block common sense gun safety. Oh my. Okay. There is nothing common sense about banning weapons. You ban weapons, and only the bad guys will have weapons because bad guys are already disobeying the law.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing that most people don't get. Like when it comes to gun control, like this is off topic, highly off topic, but liberals, they can't stop.
Going off topic.
Yeah. Anytime the bad guys don't care about the law. They just know how to be sneaky. Like they aren't gonna just actively pull out an RPG just in the middle of the street, but they definitely have one.
We banned
by the way,
drugs.
Here goes the meme. You guys can see it, right?
Yes.
You believe that it's wrong to murder unborn babies in the womb? Unless you put all my arbitrary beliefs regarding completely unrelated government policies and programs, you can't be pro-life. That's this entire argument.
I believe that everyone should have the right to live. That doesn't mean everyone has the right to live in the United States.
They wouldn't salivate over endless wars or high cost of lives. They don't know Republicans. They think we're still like George Bush. They don't realize that people fucking hate George Bush. People on the right hate George Bush.
I don't know a single person who still likes Cheney and Bush.
We literally kicked Cheney out the party.
See, my parents were actually Al Gore voters.
No, don't worry. Both my parents were. My parents voted for Al Gore also, so.
My parents didn't start moving towards conservatism until they got saved. Not gonna lie. My parents didn't get saved until like I was 2 or 3 years old. And then they got married.
Actually promotes virtue, Christianity promotes virtue.
Christianity promotes virtue. Virtue tends to lean towards the conservative right, the libertarian conservative.
Because even libertarians who aren't even religious, they still believe in virtue because they say that because they just take it from pretty much they took Paul's reasoning, and they just divorced it from Paul. Pretty much how Paul tried to palate his stuff to the Greeks. They just use the same thing and saying like, hey, still true. It still holds true. So virtue and hard work is the only way to be free. And, let's put it like this. They wouldn't deny the effects of climate change. Yep, still the government policies. They wouldn't have
what
about politicization.
What is climate change? What the fuck?
Their hypocrisy is astounding. Their hypocrisy is astounding.
With babies.
I have to point back to the meme. And this says, do we want punishment or do we want results? Abortion rates decrease under democratic administrations due to preventive care and education, also improve the economy, lower unemployment, higher wages. This is contentious because of what defines a democratic administration and how much of it is actually from something that they did while they were in office versus how much of it is just left over from the last one. But pretty much they tried to say that we need to allow abortion because if not, it's white supremacy, despite the fact that abortion would lower the black population. Okay, Ilhan Omar.
You know how to reduce unplanned pregnancies?
Keep
fucking
the legs closed.
Yep. Okay.
That's
Elon
the-
Omar.
Yeah, I was about to say I'll wrap this up in a nice little bow.
Go ahead.
The whole reason that the left wants to have they want abortions around is because they want women to have abortions. They want women to be sexually active, and that within itself, taking out the women, taking the women out of the equation, to basically attacking women so that they can attack men at the same time.
Hello there. This is Solomon Knight, and I take it you made it to the end of the video. I graciously want to say thank you for your time. If you like the content, please like, share, and subscribe. I also have several social media accounts that you can follow me on, and there's even some alt tech exclusives. Link in the descriptions below. See you there.